It's that time, for story time. I'm a guy that lives in the Philippines and has done so for a long time, moved here from a young age and migrated to the southern island of Mindanao. I moved back away right before COVID-19 to the UK but used to live in a major city called Davao. I've got a few stories for you all and centers a lot around spirits, with a few on folk beasts here. This happened when I was a kid. Be half shit mixed child in hut with Filipino senpai. Called Bahay Kubo, pick related. Dad's a seaman so no dad and shit hut until we get some money. Am oldest kid with little sister on the way. Sleep with my mom in one room with grandparents in another. Monsoon season so freezing balls off in hand-me-down clothes. Can't sleep, so I read most of the night by candle. Keep in mind, we had clocks and phones, we just couldn't really afford much in the way of else when dad was saving up money to build us a house. Area is grassy, dirt roads but a kilometer away from the highway at most with other huts around us. It's late and I'm yelled at to sleep. Lights off and try to doze off but feel weird. Like, I'm being watched. No glass windows, just window holes in hut. Feel wrestling on opposite side of the house. Leads onto roof where I shit myself over the following noise. It sounded like someone was copying a bird in a high-pitched, guttural, wook, wook, like a chicken, but really quietly. Within seconds I hear my grandparents' room shake and our door opens to my granddad, Lolo we call him. Carrying big fuck-off sword, stingray's tail. Next to him my Lola, grandmother, holding garlic. She hangs it from window, mom is stressed. She tells her there's a wak-wak on our roof. Basically, Filipino bird vampire that enjoys eating babies, children, adults, using talons and beak to tear and consume the hearts of their prey. Only now just realized that Lolo isn't holding garlic. Probably because of the sawn off in his other hand. Lolo runs out, screaming and swearing. Lola comforts my mother and me, keeping us inside. Our neighbors wake up, see flashlight rays through the hut walls and out the window. I hear the shotgun go off, and big fucking wings. It sounded like a literal eagle took off from above. Strong enough that the roof shook slightly. These houses stand up to actual storms. Lola makes us pray until Lolo comes in the house. Tells us to go to sleep, he'll hunt in the morning. The next morning me and my mom are still kept inside. Apparently when a wak-wak is near or hunting, it's a witch's familiar or pet. So more or less people think someone was jealous of us, or disliked us enough to try and have us killed. I was a kid, and a few days later we had a really nice dinner with my grandparents. Lolo is happy. Gets us a whole lechon, roasted baby piglet. Shit's so crunchy and fatty and delicious. Family prays and then eats like crazy. It's like I never gained childhood trauma. Lolo tells us they killed a woman today who was the witch. She had familiars in her jars including a wak-wak and black eggs. Black eggs are commonly what manananggal/aswang feed to people conspicuously to turn them into one as well, usually can kill them by destroying these eggs or for mananangals, putting salt on their lower half so they cannot join back together. Feels bad for them killing some woman. Turns out she had a crush on my dad. Went crazy, tried killing my family with black magic. This probably wasn't legal but that's okay. Dinner went on like normal and mom was happy about it. They burned the body and even the police knew, let it happen because superstition and ignorance can kill, evidently. This is another story. In the original it was 1998, and I was around 5. Fast forward to when I was 15, a lot had happened since then. Demon baby in my room, sleep paralysis while awake in friend's house, grandmother blessed me and told me she was also a witch, my imaginary friend, etc. All are stories too, but one I still remember really well was in high school. Be 15. Now have money with an actual house and not hut. Grandparents moved to the house my dad built a few years after the wak-wak. Now I live downtown with little sister, and a baby brother. Go to private Catholic school. Can't have long hair or dirty nails. No nuns for teachers but you did see priests and sisters as we call them go around. Campus is notoriously haunted, very well known in my city. Worked for school newspaper at the time and scored a big win at local journalism competition. Was in radio broadcasting and team celebrated with more practice at school and pizza. Shit was cash. Our school was pretty big, goes up 5 floors, each grade level was easily 400 to 500 students with each floor signifying one grade level. Computer labs on the 4th floor along with the teachers' faculty so we were in the computer labs to practice. During the day it was packed but at night every floor aside from the 4th had their lights turned off. Pitch darkness on the floors, illuminated only by the 4th's bright lights. It was 8, we celebrated cause we got into the regionals. Be me with team and girl I liked, call her Monica. Our team leader, a teacher, starts telling ghost stories. Apparently a student killed herself in the 5th floor bathroom and haunts it at night. Thought it was BS until teacher confirms he was there when it happened. Took a fuckload of pills and some razor blades. Put a damper on our team, but then my dumbass asks to walk upstairs. Everyone with a brain rejects the idea. My pride gets the best of me and we bet 100 pesos if I get up and walk all the way to the end and at the stairway. To give you an idea of the floor layout, once you reach the top staircase, it's a straight shot hallway with classrooms all on your left and on your right. As you go down it, the right side opens up and you're hit with the windy skies cause of it being decently tall, with still classrooms all the way down. Before the stairs is 2 big bathrooms, one for boys and one for girls. Right past that, is a stairway that connects all the way down and leads to the pathway to the main gate. I'm a big boy. 100 pesos can buy me Jollibee, Filipino McDonald's, you working with this stuff? I bite. They bite. I'm a boy who wants to impress my team and a girl. I ascend the staircase and pick above to the 5th floor and the darkness is insane. Moon lights up a small amount but there are spots that are just in pitch darkness. One teammate follows me up to make sure I don't do anything dumb. Monica cheers me on. Big yes moment, they walk down the 4th floor's hallway, every floor is the same layout. Teammate laughs as he sees me go up, stands on the landing in the dark to see me go down the hall. Whatever. I walk in. It's really quiet. The doors are all closed so no jump scares while I walk. Cool air blows on my face. Uniform feels so wispy and cool. Damn nice. I'm halfway down and just looking around and fail to notice a dark spot near the bathroom. Looks like if someone was wearing a whole blanket on them. Calls out, thinking the group below went ahead and is trying to scare me. The spot is actually a figure. It zooms to the ceiling and I realize the blanket part was because of the lack of light. I begin walking backwards, looking at the figure. It's a girl. Holy shit, it's a girl. Shitting bricks. I felt so heavy, so weighed down, the hairs on my body stood so hard that it ached my arms. I turn and run and I can feel it bearing on me. I see my teammate in the dark, his figure in the same spot. He runs. I'm running. I turned around while I was running. Its skin was so white. I feel far too many emotions for a 15-year-old to feel. Begin to cry, I'm about to reach the stairs. First step. Oh shit, I'm tumbling. I fall down the stairs because I skipped 3 steps in panic. Push against the railing, don't lose all footing yet and with all my power push myself to the rest of the stairs. The light hits my face. Never been happier to be covered in light. I book it down the 4th floor's hallway. Fuck that shit. Don't look back, teammate right ahead of me. I catch up and run past him to the gate. Don't feel safe until I'm with the group again. Everyone looks worried. Teammate catches up. Teacher asks,
Anon? You took forever up there.
What? My teammate speaks up.
You were super late. I just saw you start to run, and you freaked me out. I thought you were smiling.
I'm shaken. Tell them what happened. Teacher shakes his head. Monica speaks up, tells me if anything happened to me there would be no point celebrating. Everyone agrees. Teacher treats us all to a round of Jollibee. Get my 100 pesos anyway out of pity. Not the first and last time I dealt with spirits at school, but one of my worst ones. That place was real haunted, and I was there late every night. College campus was even more haunted, with stories of students getting teleported from one building to another in a blink. The college campus was built during the Japanese occupation, or somewhat the same time, and Catholic schools just love ghosts for some reason. A bit tired, but if any of you are interested in more, feel free. Pick related, the pathway leading to the gate, the tallest bit there is the 5th floor, and you can see the way the stairs there are positioned. You can imagine my panic trying to run away from something that could be right above me. I'm sure we have a different term, but 2 yules I know from my Malaysian/Indonesian friends. In the Philippines we call them tiangks and I had an encounter with one when we moved to our new house. Few years later. Dad builds us a house with the help of Mom's family. Sheet metal roof and thick concrete slab walls with wooden support beams. Sturdy as hell, just not very pretty. Pick related, no wood unless wood supports hidden in the roof. Been living a few months here, general area is still pretty forested and real concrete roads are still here and there. Tender age of 9 and about to start school in a few days at a nice school. Hyped about friends. From the moment we move in we befriend the neighbors and local police. Area sketchy cause not super developed yet and 2 roads away laid a whole jungle more or less. Finally have own room. Big dresser and mirror opposite my small bed. Dresser stacked with tons of stuffed toys. Bears and Mickey Mouse rip-offs but none human looking. The night before school I wake up. It's like some bad hour of the night always. On top of the dresser I hear whispering. Raining hard outside, roof is loud so this whispering must have been normal speaking. Eyes strain to adjust but slowly I see something replaced a toy bear. Scared because it's twitching. What the fuck man? It's small, really small. Baby sized. Fear makes my eyes focus properly. It has weeping eyes and pink-red skin. Its mouth is moving really fast. Its head begins to spin. Like an owl but all the way around. I start screaming, howling. I have never felt this much fear before. It looked like a fat fetus. Mom runs in, turns on the lights. It immediately vanishes, the noise it made just echoed away. Could not sleep in that room anymore. It genuinely still makes me shake because you could smell the iron in the air. It never happened again but heard lots of babies crying outside my window in the night for the duration of our stay there.
So how common is this in that part of the world? Everyone I know from the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia knows someone who has seen or hired one of these things. Dukun is what they call witch doctors/shamans in the Philippines. Also, any idea why I never hear about these from Brunei? I mean, it's right there.
Funnily enough, lived in Brunei for 4 years on part of my dad's job a while after the Chanak incident. Chanaks are the spirits of the unborn that have never really moved on, and turned demonic in nature, using their voices and calls to lure people to their death. They're fairly common, Brunei does have them, but Brunei's on the border of Malaysia so it probably just blends. Seen a Pontianak in Brunei so it's fairly combined I'd think. Another story my mom told me, this happened to her cousin, and took place back in the 70s as well. Cousin got a teaching job in a different village. To reach the town she had to walk through a path in the jungle. Got lost and as the sun started going down, she came across a family living in a hut. Family offers to let her stay the night. She accepts because fuck walking through the jungle at night. The whole family sleeps on the floor of the single-room hut. She joins them and drifts off to sleep. Middle of the night, she wakes up to the sound of talking. She is alone in the room besides the family's teenage daughter, who is still asleep under a blanket. Creeps to the window and peeks out, and sees the family preparing a big pot, talking about killing and eating her as a sacrifice to whatever it was they worship. She immediately gets the fuck out of there, sneaking back to the path and hurrying away. Further down the path, she hears blood-curdling shrieks. Assumes the family mistook their daughter for her, and killed her before realizing.
Fuck, that's unnerving. So how common is it in the Philippines to have whole families of weirdos just living out in the middle of the woods?
My mom's cousin thinks they were a family of witches. Kind of makes me think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, lol. She told me witches were a common problem. Usually if someone was sick, dying, or sometimes even during a funeral, it was not uncommon to spot an old decrepit man or woman lurking around the house of the person. She theorizes it was so they could feed off the energy of sorrow surrounding the situation. These suspicious individuals were not too hard to chase off if a group of men assembled, however. A couple more, not as scary, ones. The first is one from my grandfather, Lolo, may he rest in peace. Lolo liked to drink. Would spend nights drinking with his buddies late into the night. Walked home drunk every night, and would pass by a certain tree on the side of the road. And every night, blue lights could be seen floating under the tree, never straying too far. Grandpa was scared but not scared enough to stop him from passing by the tree every night to get home. He always made sure to cross to the other side of the road when passing while saying a prayer. Makes me think of maybe will-o-wisps or Japanese onibi. This second story is mine. Around 12 years old. Living in Manila, in Ayala Alabang village. It was Halloween. My parents took me driving around the neighborhood to look at the crazy elaborate Halloween decorations the rich people would put up. One family had a giant, at least 14 feet tall, papier-mâché, teak belong, straddling their tall fence. Brought a digital camera to take pics. When we finished up and were pulling the car back into our driveway, I was playing around with the camera. Pointed the camera towards the driveway as the car pulled up, and there was a blue floating mist right in the middle of the driveway. Couldn't see it with naked eye, only through the screen of the digital camera. It disappeared quickly as the car approached. Too slow to take a picture or show my parents, fuck me, right? Freaked out for weeks because my room was directly above the driveway. It was probably something entirely different from what my Lolo would see, but it was also a ghostly blue non-humanoid entity. I have one last one to share. If I remember any others from my mom, I will definitely post, though. This one actually takes place in Singapore. It's a story my ex-GF, half flip half chink, told me once, told to her by her Pinoy mom. Her family had a Filipino maid at the time, who her mom says turned out to be an aswang. Family had maid hired from agency when X was a baby, too young to remember. X was often sick, and quite weak as an infant. It would often just be her mom and her in the house alone with a maid, as the dad would be working all day. Doctors not sure why X was always sick, they thought it was some kind of chronic anemia. Maid would often be asked to go check on XGF as she needed constant attention. One day mom walked into X's room while the maid was in there, and the maid was standing over the crib. She had a long sharp tongue that she was using to pierce my ex's skin, and it looked like she was drinking her blood. Obviously been taking care to not drink too much so the baby would not die. X's mom chased her out with a stick and rosary, called the police. Police could not find maid. However, from that point on the mom would often hear noises on their roof at night, and even caught glimpse of a large pig. The aswang can shapeshift and a pig is a common form they use, lurking around the outside of their house. If you don't know, you don't see strange pigs walking around in Singapore. Pig would always disappear when they tried to look for it. X's mom had the house blessed by a priest and they eventually moved house. They never saw or heard from the maid/aswang again, and X was no longer constantly sick and weak after that. There is a story I once read on the internet, possibly on /x/ years ago. I've tried for a long time to find it again with no luck. Maybe someone else has read it too? I may be lacking some details since it's been so long. It sounds like another aswang story. It reminds me a lot of stories of American skinwalkers. 2 Americans were on a trip on the island of Negros, I think, near Cebu. They were the outdoorsy type and decided to go on a trek through the jungle, just the 2 of them, no guide. As they were hiking and talking, they started noticing something strange. Every time one of them said something, they would hear it repeated off in the distance almost immediately. At first they thought it was an echo of their voices. They ignored it at first, but they soon realized it was getting louder as time went on. Eventually they shut up, as they were on edge, and if they didn't talk, they wouldn't hear it. But in the silence they could clearly hear something following them in the jungle. They were scared and it was getting dark, so they decided to climb a tree to spend the night. In the middle of the night they woke up to the sound of something snuffling and walking around the bottom of the tree. They also heard mumbling, and to their horror realized it was all fragments of conversations they were having earlier. One of them shined a light down below, and looking up at them was a large hog with a grinning humanesque face. It didn't try to get up the tree, it just continued doing what it was doing, circling them. They stayed up there terrified and awake, listening to the thing imitating them until dawn, when it retreated out of sight, into the jungle. They hurried on once the sun came up, still hearing the thing following them until they reached the safety of a small village.